Next guest is a well-known Kiwi actor who loves to get behind a good cause, even going as far as boarding an oil exploration ship in protest. Now Lucy Lawless is taking a look back at another revolutionary time in history.
Come on, let's get that!
Our warrior Princess Xena, or Lucy Lawless, has become one of Aotearoa's biggest exports. She's been in comedy horror series Ash vs Evil Dead and had a recurring role in sitcom Parks and Recreation.
So, I am pregnant.
I see.
No stranger to activism, Lucy is now throwing her support behind a New Zealand-made doco about a 20-year-long grassroots movement. The movement would become the world's first and biggest female-only demonstration.
All these women with one purpose had come together.
It all began in 1981 when news broke that nuclear weapons were to be stored at an Air Force base in Greenham, England. Protests drew up to 35,000 women at one time, and a decade later the weapons were removed.
If you always do as you're told, you don't ever change anything.
Joining us all the way from New York, please welcome Lucy Lawless.
Hey, everybody, get up.
Got her, Lucy. I happen to know you weren't there when all this happened at this protest. What makes you so passionate about this film?
I found it so inspirational. The movie itself is really inspirational because it has this rhythm and it's all leading to a great crescendo at the end. But what it stirs in you is something to act on your own best impulses. You know, when something's not right, when you got to stand up for the little guy, when you got to stand up for your children. These women just, they kind of took it upon themselves to follow their own guts, even though nobody supported them. And eventually people came on board and it became an incredibly powerful movement with many trials and tribulations, and that's all in the film.
You yourself have inspired plenty of people, plenty of young women, I'm sure. Can I ask, as an activist, what's it like when you're out there in those pretty hairy situations? It must be pretty scary at times, right? Can be,
yeah. It can be really scary, actually. But again, I wonder how I should say this. You know, sometimes I felt like times were like, you could die. You could actually die, and you have to be kind of at peace with that.
Wow.
And go, you know what, they can only kill me once, or you know, at least it's for something I truly believe in. Yeah. But those are rare moments.
You've been at the forefront of many protests. Is there one issue we should all be protesting right now?
Yeah, we ought to be on a war footing with climate change because there's massive reports coming out now. There's a huge thing in Congress today where all the CEOs of the biggest oil companies were being raked over the coals for this campaign of disinformation since the 70s. Yeah. We know now that they were lying this whole time, just like the correlation between tobacco and cancer. So we've got to start doing the right thing because our children and their children who are already born are not going to thank us for it.
No. There are anti-lockdown protests going on most weekends in New Zealand at the moment. Do you think every protest is a good thing?
I think you've got to be allowed to peacefully protest. I think you have to be, but one would hope that good sense would prevail. And you know what? Vaccination's key, guys. This is my feeling being out in the world away from New Zealand. Get vaccinated. With the masks and washing our hands, you can live a much better life, much more relaxed, without all this kind of crazy hatred. It's not necessary. This is why we don't have polio anymore. Get vaccinated. It works.
Yeah, as I like to say, one job, two jabs. Lucy, thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That film looks really good. I'm definitely going to see that. It's called Mother of the Revolution and it's premiering on Saturday at the New Zealand International Film Festival.